So let's choose this first tile here, and what we're going to do is we're going to come across to paint, and you'll see I can paint a property. I'm going to paint a physics layer, and so that's just by choosing one of the tiles, going to paint and choosing a physics layer. And you'll see that when I come in, I'm zoomed in at 495 and my collision shape is a rectangle or a square. So let's zoom out a little so we can actually see the tile. And when I bring that tile up, you'll see that the collision shape is the wrong shape. Okay, I don't want a collision in the middle, I want collisions along the sides of this shape. So I'm going to grab my handle and simply move it to the corner of my tile, like that. The ones that matter really are the inside, because hopefully you don't have a car crashing into the outer side. So you just need to make sure that the inside of your collision track matches the inside of your track. And so I've got the top of my tile now with a collision, and I'm going to use my painting tool to add another polygon. So I'm just going to use the green tool there, and I'm going to do a second polygon down the bottom of the tile, just like that, and close it. And so then I've got a collision shape at the top and a collision shape at the bottom. Now you can resize that so that it's beautiful. You can zoom in if you're going to be particular. I don't want people crashing when they're not even on the tile, so I'll drag it out and be generous to my players. I want them to come back and play my game again and not get frustrated. So let's drag that out, and same thing at the top here. I think I've overlapped the tile a bit too much there, or overlapped the track too much there, and so I'll drag that in a bit. Now you just need to be careful, as I showed earlier, that you don't want to cause a collision between the edge of one tile and the start of another tile. So if you're going from this tile into a corner tile like this, you'd need to make sure that the start of this collision shape matches the end of the previous collision shape, so you don't create a hole in your collisions. Now, once I've done that, you'll see down here in my tile map, it's still got the original. So what I actually have to do is make sure my paint tool is selected, and then I just click on the tiles that I want to have this collision shape. So there's my collision shape, and you can see down here it also matches the collision shape, and this one here also matches the collision shape. And so I've now painted those three tiles with that collision shape. Then if I come to the three dots, you'll see this one's pretty close. I just need to rotate it 90 degrees. So if I come into my three dots in my paint tool, I can actually rotate that to the right. And so if I rotate that to the right, I can then click on this tool, and you'll see I've got a beautiful collision shape all set up for that one, and this one, and this one. And let's go hunting. I'll go back to the select tool so I don't paint on the other things, and see if I can find the start line with the double vertical lines. There it is. So let's go back to my paint, and I'm going to use that one as well. And so I've now got my start line with the double vertical lines painted. And I probably should have done the horizontal lines when I did that too, when I was using the horizontal tool. Let's go back to my select though, and now I'm going to have a look at my corner tools. And so I'm going to go to this one, I'm going to choose paint, and you'll see that this does not suit that tile. And so when I click on that tile, what I'm actually going to need to do is remove some points. So I've chosen my left corner, and I'm going to get rid of this rectangle here by choosing the delete points tool. And so I'm just going to delete those 4 points, and 2, got rid of it. And then I'm going to adjust the 4 points in this. So I'm going to pick my edit point tool up, and I'm going to drag that over to the tip there, and then I'm going to add a new point here, drag that down so that it matches, and then I'm going to put in a bit of a curve by adding some points, just clicking and dragging across, and you'll see that the end of this collision map is going to line up nicely. Now if I had this down here, that's where I'd have a hole in my collision maps when I lined that up with the horizontal tiles. So make sure that they line up nicely. The middle here doesn't matter too much. I'll be generous to the player and actually let them go out of bounds a little bit, and so they can overlap here. So there's our tile for the left. Now because I've created this one, you'll see I need to paint that onto my corner. So I'm just going to make sure I've got my paint tool selected, and then I'm going to click on the tile I want to paint that on, and I've now got the collision map on there. Right, before I go somewhere else, let's go and find the corner. There it is. So see how this corner's got an inner boundary? So I'm going to paint that same tile collision shape on this one, because I'm actually going to use that style of corner rather than this style of corner, because I want just a single lane track all the way around. I'm not going to worry about painting any collision on the inside though, because my collision shapes for my 90-degree angle are going to stop anyone from running out of bounds on this little point here. Let's go to our select tool though. Sorry, I'm going back to my paint tool. Here on my paint tool, I've painted that onto this corner, so now I'm going to rotate that right 90 degrees, and so here I've got a corner running that direction. So I'm going to find my corner running that direction. There it is. And I'm going to click on that one, and so you see I've painted my collision map on that tile. I'm going to rotate 90 degrees and find my corner that looks like that. Click on that one, and then I'm going to rotate 90 degrees one more time and find my corner that is this way. Now you could go into those corners and tidy them all up if you really wanted to, but they've painted on pretty well, and so they've all got their nice little, because I've rotated the one shape over and over, they've all got their nice ending, and they should join in nicely with the vertical and horizontal track pieces.